Hey guys, what's up? DJ's Aviation. Welcome back to another video of mine. Today's going to be sort of a different one as it's going to be unscripted. Now, a lot of you can probably tell I do script my videos. That's because I have a lot of difficulty wording my words correctly if it's not scripted, and I'll have to make a lot of cuts. So in this video, you'll probably notice me cutting my speech out a number of times just because I'll say the wrong word or not be able to form a sentence. It's something I struggle with. I'm not sure if anyone else goes through this, but that's usually the main reason I spend a good hour scripting videos, just to make sure they are perfect, and then even still I will make mistakes and then have to redo it. But anyway, today I'm going to discuss the Boeing 797. I did make a video on the 797, I think it was a couple months back, maybe 2 months, that actually got a lot of support. We are actually getting quite a lot more news regarding the 797. If you want to check out that video that I did, a card will be on your screen in the top right, so feel free to click on that to learn a little bit more about it. But seeming the Singapore Airshow trade days, not the public days, the trade days have just started up. We're getting more news from Boeing, Airbus, various airlines placing orders, and I know this is going to ramp up as the days go on, especially I'd say over the public days. We may start seeing airlines order new aircraft, for instance maybe the A330neo. But the main question is, will Boeing unveil their 797 at the Singapore Airshow? Now, there are a couple of websites breaking the news regarding the 797, and apparently the Boeing senior vice president has actually been speaking with the media at the Singapore Airshow. He's actually been talking up interest from Australia and a number of other countries regarding this 797. Now, originally there were pictures of the 797 which looked almost like a 787, but it was kind of adjusted. There are a few more pictures now floating around of what it could look like, but essentially it will be a further stretched 737 MAX that will pretty much look like the 787. So I guess you could say it might as well be a 787-7. Boeing have released kind of a brief look at what the specs may be and the routes that could be used with the 797. So we know that the 797 will actually allow flights from Sydney to Melbourne to carry an extra 100 passengers over the 737-800 jets. Qantas currently use these 737-800s, so the extra 100 seats on these flights could actually be a huge boost for them, and also Virgin Australia, but as we know they've ordered the 737 MAX 8, so I'm unsure whether they would opt for the 797 at this stage. But certainly those 100 seats could make a big difference to Qantas. They've also noted that the 797 could be perfect for Asian routes, heading from Sydney to Singapore and then back, and I'd assume a whole host of other destinations. And really what I want to kind of get a gauge for in this video is if you'd want to see a 797 introduced. There's certainly a lot of talk that it would be introduced in the mid-2020s. Of course, an airliner is usually unveiled, I would say, 8 or so years before it's actually released. So if you think about it, we're in 2018 now. 2025 would be the mid-2020s, and that's around 7 years away. So it would make sense that if they're going to reveal the 797, it'd be this year. Whether or not it happens at the Singapore Airshow, I don't know if it would gain. Of course, it would gain a lot of media attention, but I don't know if you were to maybe wait to do it at the Paris Airshow in a year or so, or maybe the results might be a bit better. I'm not an expert by no means at all, but I just feel like if you were to put it at the Paris Airshow, you may gain a lot more traction, possibly get more orders. That's just my opinion though. A couple of rumours that are flying around is it's going to essentially be based off the 737 MAX. As I said before, it's going to be like an extended one. Boeing are trying to fit it in between the 737 MAX and the 787-8. Which the shortest variant of that, as we said, the Dash 8 is the shortest variant, so they're trying to get it in between that gap. As for seating, they're looking at 225 passengers for their shortest variant, with 275 for the longer variant, which I think is a really decent total, especially if Boeing are looking at Qantas to kind of operate these between Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane domestically. I feel like that could be a very, very good option, as it does allow for more seats, more flights, more slots, and etc, etc. It's also worth noting Qantas have not ordered the 737 MAX, so I really do believe they'd certainly be open to ordering the 797 if it was actually released. And we do know one more thing about the 797, which is quite exciting. They're aiming for this particular aircraft to have a very fast boarding and disembarking system, which would be around 35 minutes, so that's a really short turnaround. If you're not too sure what a turnaround means, it essentially means when a plane lands, pulls up at the gate, to when it pushes back, that's its turnaround time. Usually airlines will have a specific slot, so they'll say, alright, we've got an hour, unload it and load it. Domestic flights are usually a lot shorter in time because, of course, international, there's cargo, more passengers, customs, and all of that. So 35 minutes, I would assume it'd be on domestic routes, and they may extend that time when it comes to international flights, but 35 minutes would be incredible. It'd probably allow for more flights during the day on top of those added passengers. So I'd really like to hear if you'd like to see a 797. Do you believe this would be a perfect aircraft for Qantas or just more airlines in general, as it is pitched between the 737 and 787? Apologies that this was a bit of a weird one. As I said, it's not scripted. Everything that comes into my head, I'm just saying. So there's probably not going to be a whole heap of structure, and I may have repeated myself multiple times. But I would like to try and learn to do more of these and not mess up as much so it can kind of feel more real. I am thinking of one day doing a bloopers, because the bloopers are actually hilarious to these videos. If you'd like to see those, feel free to also let me know, although they are quite embarrassing. Thank you very much for watching another one of my videos. I will see you all in my next one. Peace.